The province of Alberta just introduced their new sweeping changes to the Alberta Advantage Immigration Program, and they introduced their new expression of interest and points-based system that changes the immigration landscape in the province. So in this video, I will break down this update, I'll explain what's new, what does it mean, and how you can take advantage of these changes. My name is Igor Kirilluk and I'm a Canadian immigration lawyer, and today we're going to talk about the major updates to the Alberta Advantage Immigration Program, or the AAIP, for 2024. So whether you are already in Alberta or maybe you are considering to make this province your new home, these changes will have a big impact on your immigration plans. So essentially, Alberta has moved from a system where anyone who met the basic criteria could apply to a more structured system where only the best candidates will be selected through the Expression of Interest System, or the EOI, launching on September 30th. What does that mean for you? Let's break it down step by step. So first, let's talk about how Alberta Advantage Immigration Program, or the AAIP, worked before February of 2024. So back then, the program was considered one of the most accessible in Canada. The requirements were fairly relaxed, so if you met the basic criteria, you could apply. And it was especially popular because of Alberta Opportunity Stream, which made it possible for a lot of people to apply, especially those already in Alberta. But with that popularity came problems. Alberta was getting flooded with applications, many more than they can handle. And not all of these applicants matched Alberta's labor needs. So there was a bit of disconnect between who was applying and what Alberta actually needed to support its economy. This eventually led to the first major change in 2024. So on February 15, 2024, Alberta made a significant move. They temporarily paused all new applications for the Alberta Opportunity Stream, and the idea was to give the program some breathing room and time to clear out the existing backlog of applications and to focus more on industries where Alberta needed workers the most. So even though they paused new applications, Alberta continued to process the ones that had been already submitted. But for anyone with draft or incomplete applications that were not yet submitted, the intake was paused. And the focus shifted towards filling labor shortages in specific sectors like healthcare, technology, construction, agriculture, and tourism. Basically, the province wanted to make sure they were bringing in people who could contribute to those key areas. Now, fast forward to June 11, 2024, Alberta reopened the Alberta Opportunity Stream, but this time they introduced a new system for applications, the one that would try to balance the flood of interest in Alberta with province's actual capacity. So instead of constantly opening the system, Alberta started accepting applications only on specific dates. So once per month. These dates were June 11th, July 9th, August 13th, September 10th, and so on, with the final date for the final intake for 2024 being December 10th. Now, this system was designed to spread out the applications throughout the whole year, but it was also a bit of a race to file. Once the target number of applications for that month would hit, the intake would close and applicants would have to wait until the next date. And on paper, this approach made sense. So the province wanted to manage the flow of application and avoid the backlog and keep things moving. But in reality, the race to file system caused a lot of frustration among the applicants. Now let's talk a little bit more about why this race to file system became an issue. First off, people were rushing to submit their applications as soon as the intake opened on a specific date. There was a mad scramble which led for some very real problems, and many applicants faced technical challenges. The system would crash due to volume of people trying to submit the application at the same time. Even those who were fully prepared and met all criteria would sometimes find themselves left out of the process because the intake filled up before they could get their application through. So on top of that, the race to file system created an uneven playing field for everyone. So people with better access to high-speed internet were more likely to get their applications in, while others, even those who may have been more qualified, missed out on this opportunity. And this caused frustration for both the applicants and immigration professionals and even the province. So as the solution, after just a few months of operating under this new race to file system, Alberta hit the pause again on August 7th, 2024. And this time, they were not pausing the program to manage a backlog, but they wanted to prepare something better, the new Expression of Interest System, or the EOI. So they announced that the remaining monthly intake dates for 2024 would be cancelled, and instead Alberta would focus on launching the new expression of interest system, which would be opened on September 30th this year. This new system is a big shift from the race to file approach and is designed to be a fairer and more aligned system that meets the Alberta's economic needs. So as we approach the launch of the new expression of interest system, Alberta has finally released the update on its website that now sheds at least some light on how the future of Alberta Advantage Immigration Program will look like. So here's what they've mentioned in their update. Candidates will self-declare information about themselves through an online worker expression of interest form in the AAIP portal. Each worker expression of interest will be scored and ranked using the worker points grid. Candidates who successfully submit the worker expression of interest will be placed into the worker stream pool to be considered for selection. And this one is really important. The AAIP will conduct ongoing draws from the worker stream pool for specific worker streams and pathways. The AAIP will select and invite candidates from the worker stream pool based on, and be very careful here, on candidates' expression of interest score rankings and provincial labor market needs and priorities and available AAIP nominations and application levels. Individuals who are selected will receive an invitation to apply by email. Now let's dive into what this new expression of interest system actually is. So starting September 30th, 2024, candidates who want to apply to one of Alberta's worker streams will need to submit an expression of interest, or the EOI. The idea behind the system is pretty straightforward. Instead of rushing to submit a full application, you submit an expression of interest, which is essentially a profile that outlines your qualifications. There is no fee to submit an expression of interest, and once it is submitted, it gets scored and ranked based on the points grid. The higher your score, the better your chances of being invited to apply. And Alberta will then select candidates from the expression of interest pool based on their score and the province's labor market needs. So you're probably wondering, how does this expression of interest system actually work? So first, you'll submit the worker expression of interest through the online form in the AAIP portal. This form will ask for your key details about your background, like things like your work experience, education, language skills, family connections in Alberta. And once you submit the form, Alberta will score your profile based on the points grid. The higher your score, the better chance that you will be selected and will be given the invitation to apply. The province will conduct regular draws from the pool of candidates, and they will invite the top-ranked candidates to officially apply for PR based on their score and their needs of the province, right? But keep in mind, Alberta will not start doing their draws right away. The first draws are expected to happen in mid to late October. And here's another important piece that everyone seemed to gloss over. The points that you get are not the only factor that will determine the likelihood of getting an invitation. Let's take a look again into the announcement. So most people miss this crucial sentence in the announcement. And essentially the province says that AAIP will select and invite candidates from the worker stream pool based on, first, candidates' expression of interest score, which is important. Second, provincial labor market needs and priorities. Third, available nominations. And fourth, the application levels. So don't get too fixated on the scores. They are critical, no doubt, but at the same time, the scores are not the only factor at play, and the province designed the system to allow for maximum flexibility in how the invitations are distributed among the candidates to meet the needs of the province itself. All right, now let's get back to the analysis of the points grid and break down how the points are actually awarded in the expression of interest system. The points grid covers several important factors. One of the key factors is your age. If you are between the ages of 21 and 34, you will get the maximum points in this category. After that, your points gradually decrease with your age, and if you're over 50 years of age, you won't get any points at all. Education is another important factor. The more advanced your degree, the more points you get, and if you studied in Alberta, you will get an extra 10 points, which shows just how much Alberta values the graduates from the province who have been trained locally. Work experience in Alberta also adds extra points. Essentially, Alberta clearly wants to prioritize people who are already integrated into the economy. Language skills are also essential. If you are proficient in English or French, you will earn points for your language scores. And in fact, you will earn more points if you speak English than French. But if you are bilingual, you get extra points. So Alberta is keen on bilingual candidates who can contribute to both English and French speaking communities. So with those 3 extra points, you get a head start among other candidates. Now, other factors include having family ties in Alberta and having a job offer, especially in rural areas. If you have a job offer outside Calgary or Edmonton, you can earn additional points. And if the job is in a community that is on Alberta's rural renewal stream list, you get even more points. So if we look in general and try to digest what does the point grid system tells us about Alberta's priorities, it's clear that the province is looking for young, educated individuals, specifically those with strong ties to Alberta, whether that's through education, work experience, or family connections. The province also places a lot of emphasis on filling jobs in rural communities and critical industries. And we've been talking about the importance of moving outside of Calgary and Edmonton to rural communities for like a year now. So if you live and work in rural community, you already have a good shot at getting an invitation with the new expression of interest system. And if you studied in Alberta, you are already ahead of the game. Alberta clearly wants to retain people who have invested in local education system, and likewise, having Alberta work experience or a job offer, especially in those rural areas, is a big plus for everyone. Now, with that all being said, you're probably wondering, how can you prepare for the rollout of the new expression of interest system? First, make sure you are eligible for one of the streams you will be applying for. Alberta has multiple worker streams, including the Alberta Opportunity Stream, Accelerated Tech Pathway, and Rural Renewal Stream. Each stream has different criteria, so make sure you meet the requirements before you submit your expression of interest. Next, take a good look at the points grid and see where you can improve your score. For example, if your language test scores are borderline, you might want to retake the test and boost your points. Or if you don't have Alberta work experience yet, that's something that you should consider pursuing. And lastly, make sure your expression of interest submission is as accurate and complete as possible. So don't come up with fake IELTS or CELPIP test report number or ECA fake report numbers. You only get to submit one expression of interest at a time, so be sure to get it right the first time and provide only truthful information. Alright, so as you can see, Alberta Advantage Immigration Program is evolving, and the new expression of interest system marks this major shift in how the province handles immigration. This new system is more fair, more organized, and in my opinion, it's better aligned with Alberta's labor market needs. So if you are serious about immigrating to Alberta, it is really important that you get familiar with the new expression of interest system and how the points are awarded. Also, try to improve your score, look at the grid system, see the factors, and think, how can you maybe pass the better language test or maybe get more work experience in Alberta. If you need any help with your immigration situation, I would also recommend that you reach out for help to an immigration lawyer. You can go to our website, holthylaw.com, and book a consultation to speak with either Mark or Alicia or I. So I will end this video here, and we will see you in the next video where we will discuss further developments with immigration landscape here in Canada. So subscribe, stay tuned, and leave comments and likes, and I'll see you there.